Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. If you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like on the video. When you see these guys on the screen, you know it's only one thing we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about pro wrestling. It is Pro Wrestling Weekly. There was supposed to be 4 of us tonight, but the newly appointed rock of the podcast, the man who's outside the door there at the gorilla position, like the warrior holding me up at the curtain, was too busy tonight to rock up. And I wouldn't mind, you know something? I put a bit of effort in for this guy tonight. I even have a little bit of Bella's history in the history section.
Oh my God.
So there you go. So there you go. So
you say history.
Yeah, but there you go. So but there we have a Raw review. We're going to be talking about SmackDown. You guys asked for it. Be careful what you wish for, because now you're after getting it. SmackDown potentially going back to 2 hours with this show, the Rainmaker taking on the third hour. We're going to be talking old Goldberg coming back has created a lot of controversy and a few waves in the wrestling industry. We're going to be talking about one Finn Balor. Get your thoughts on that as well, who came out this week and says doesn't have any interest in doing Hollywood. I was quite surprised at that. We have a little bit of a lawsuit going on in AEW with some ring crew. We will touch on that. And we will be also asking you tonight, what is your favourite ever match? What is the match that you go through? What's the match if you're like Bren and you're feeling a little bit under the weather? And you sit back and you put on YouTube and you go, you know, haven't watched that one in a while. That's the one I want to watch. So we're going to get the boys' thoughts on that as well. What they are is what is their greatest match, and I'm sure they'll give us a couple of options, and that's okay. Let us know in the chat as well. What is your favorite wrestling match ever, or your go-to match, the match that you lean on at times of if you're locked down in your bedroom because of the pandemic or whatever it is. This is the match that you watch. And we don't mind if it's controversial. We don't mind if it's a wrestler who was passed, or a wrestler who was passed and took a few with him. Whatever it is, let us know. We're not against that on this podcast at all. We're also going to be talking about R-Truth. I gently touched on it last week, talking about how people wanted R-Truth back, not necessarily Ron Killings. And there was a big story on that this week as well. So we'll touch on that again, just as a matter of course. But yeah, boys, how are you doing?
Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, I've nothing going on really. No, I'm doing okay. Thank you very much, Niall, as always, for having me. Pretty tired. These long summer days, and it's not exactly summer, but it's warmer than it typically is around these parts of Ballyhace at this time of the year. So feeling the effect of it, but looking forward to getting into a good action-packed show.
Excellent.
Stop. I walked around the garden today. I lost about a stone. I did. It's about 22 degrees out there today. It was.
Jeez.
And oh my God, you know what? I don't like this heat. I don't care what anyone says. Spain would be a great idea. It's not.
Yeah.
I just want it to be okay outside, and that's it. Because I was outside in the garden today. I wasn't doing that, to be fair. Walked around, and I think I lost about half a stone. So swings and roundabouts, I suppose.
Yeah,
I love the heat. I would move to Spain in the morning. I don't love the heat when I'm sitting in a bedroom or a podcast studio in the heat with one of these Deals fans, as you can see, trying to keep me cool, which are absolutely useless.
Yeah.
But they are available in Deals, $6.99 USB straight into the laptop, so all good.
Right.
Don't know if you can hear it either. I don't know if it's coming through either there, but if it is, it's keeping me alive, so we have to kind of bear it. But yeah, like it's a. Yeah, listen, we're not going to hate on the weather. I only got solar panels installed there about 6 weeks ago, so bring it on. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
Living dangerously.
That's it, I'm telling you. Next you see me in electric cars and everything and all. So.
Elon Musk over there. Jesus. Captain Planet. Throwback.
Oh, I tell you, save the planet. That's what it's all about. It actually tells me on my solar app how many trees, the equivalent of how many trees I saved this week with my CO2 savings. That always makes me feel good on a Sunday evening. Yeah. I'll screenshot it next time for you. So there you go. Right, let's get into Raw. Let's talk Raw. What happened, all this kind of stuff. Sean, kick us off. Asuka, back with a bang.
Back with the bang and back with her old theme music. So could life be finer? Good win for Asuka. Defeated Stephanie Vaquer. and Ivy Nile and Raquel Rodriguez were also in this. If you had any doubts on Ivy Nile not taking the pin, she didn't even get an entrance. She just spawned in the rings. That should have been bad news. But no, great to see Asuka back. I would have took either her or Stephanie to go through. And a good way to not open the show, but like the first match of the show. She had a bit more luck than her tag partner Kairi Sane did later on the show, which I presume we'll get to that once it comes up, unfortunately. But no, this is a good start to the show. A good start to a decent enough show, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was about as good of a show as you can have with a boring promo start, an accidental injury, and a Goldberg appearance into the world title picture. Considering it had all that going against it, it was okay, I think.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah. We're going to skip Goldberg for the moment because obviously we're going to talk about that in its own section. But talk to me, AJ Styles defeating JD McDonough, who I believe now is probably the best-selling wrestler in WWE at the moment.
One of the best sellers in WWE at the moment, hands down. These two lads could put on a wrestling match with a broomstick and it would be fantastic. Loved what they did here. What I would say is, I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. This match was really good, but I think it's time to pull the trigger on Judgment Day. I know first also as well, good to see Graves back on commentary. I love Graves on commentary. I thought he was brilliant on commentary. But him and Cole are starting to touch and they're starting to acknowledge the turmoil in the Judgment Day. So as good as this match was, and I think this moves AJ forward for an Intercontinental Championships opportunity in the future. This whole Judgment Day thing has to go. I think it's getting to a stage where Finn Balor needs to snap. He needs to do something. Somebody needs to do, and all variations of Judgment Day, in my opinion, has to go. There can't be like that. They're turning into not NWO, but like it's like they're a completely different faction now than they were at the start. And to me, it's they just need to stop teasing and they need to come up with something new. But other than that, the match itself was very good.
Yeah, do you know something? It's an interesting point that you bring up there because arguably, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're probably seeing the best of Finn Balor's personality outside the ring in the last few weeks in the Judgment Day, in terms of the stuff he's doing with Liv and the dynamic with Roxanne and with Dom. And you're seeing even him and Dom going head to head, and they were having the row, and then the two boys are out the next day together on Twitter laughing, going, amazing what a day can do the next day, all this kind of thing and all, you know. So it's pretty cool. So he's very much in that playing the wrestling community at the moment and stuff like that. So I'm kind of loving at the moment this aspect of Finn Balor that I'm saying. Clearly, we're not necessarily not liking the ring work, but not always liking the result, if you like, that happens in the ring. But certainly we're saying that are we beginning to see the peeling back of an onion there to get into another layer there with Finn Balor that we know already exists? Sean, thinking?
I hope so, because I pretty much wholeheartedly agree with everything Brent just said. Judgment Day for me is long since past its course. I like most of the people in there, especially our Irish boys. But something has to happen because it doesn't feel like we're getting anywhere. It feels like we're just going round in circles. You talk about JD being the best seller. I think it's pretty undisputed. I think he told Chris Van Vliet that him and AJ Styles were actually trying to secretly one-up each other for taking back body drop cells. Again, like you say about these two, you could literally throw a broom at them and say 3, 2, 1, go, and they put on like a 5-star classic, like an actual one. Good for AJ. JD said he wanted a rematch on Instagram. I don't know if that's just Jordan being totally, blown away and finding out that he got to wrestle AJ Styles, or if that's him being like, oh, you cheated, I want a rematch. But that'd be something I'd be looking forward to in the future. But no, good win for AJ Styles. Would be nice if JD could, if Finn. Here's the thing: if Finn can't even win a match, any match on Raw, what do you think they're going to do with him in Hollywood? They're going to make him the villain of a crime gang, and he's going to get absolutely destroyed by Tom Cruise or Pedro Pascal.
No. There's plenty of levels. We'll talk about that when the
he'll get pinned.
Instead
of getting killed, he'll just get pinned.
I think he would be an absolute star in Hollywood, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that and talk, get your views on it and stuff like that.
That's a hot take in itself.
When I see AJ Styles versus JD McDonough, I just get blown away by AJ Styles and his longevity. 20 years ago, I watched AJ Styles in the SFX for IWW, and he was a star then as much as he's a star now. And he was outstanding, and he was at the peak of his powers in TNA at the time. And 20 years on, you know, this guy is still doing it. It's incredible. And I can see why someone like JD would fan out a little bit, because AJ Styles is really wrestling royalty. And I was listening to James Storm on the Chris Van Vliet show, and he was talking about his Mount Rushmore, his TNA Mount Rushmore and stuff like that and all, you know. And AJ Styles was on there, you know, so it's really, you know, hard to argue against that. Now, he had some interesting picks on it as well. And he was very much on that interview. He was in his TNA mode as well. Because you'll notice his Mount Rushmore was really about the TNA guys that were in there, not necessarily the people that came in afterwards. But it was good to hear it. It's good to hear it. It's a very, very good interview. I tell you to go watch it. We've had him in the shop. He's an absolute gentleman. He was lovely to work with as well. And he was just, he worked me on the day as well because I had no beers on the table. And he gave me an awful time. Spoke about things like gimmick infringement and all this kind of stuff. So he was a great guy. But I patted him on the back. And I think it was Minoru Suzuki is the guy that I found by patting on the back, has the hardest back in wrestling, like concrete, like a wall. But James Storm has a back as well, like cement. When you pat him on the back, your hand bounces off his back, really, you know what I mean? But they were talking about, like, he was talking about things like Beer Money and American Most Wanted and all that kind of stuff. And it just gave me such a throwback. And then yesterday, I think we had the anniversary of the woo off between Jay Lethal and Ric Flair. I put it into our group. And of course, he was standing in the ring there, James Storm. You know, so very, 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 very cool. And sometimes we forget these little things and stuff like that and all, and how long these guys have been around. I can't even remember. I don't know what year it was. It might have been 2012, I think, when he came into the shop for that signing the day before the TNA show. Good, no, it could have been 2012.
Do you know what? It's funny you bring that up. I found a picture because I came in that day to visit him, and I actually found a picture of me and him that day. I must bust it out and send it to you.
Well, I'll give you another laugh because I was going to the toilet today in the back of the shop, and I had two lanyards hanging up on a hook, and the two lanyards were the two laminate lanyards that I did up for the shop staff for the James Storm signing, staring at me in the face. So it's mad, and they're hanging there. They must be hanging there since 2012. They're hanging there 13 years. Like, it's insane. It's insane. Mad. But we digress, don't we? We digress. That's what the show is all about and stuff like that. Big up, Baz. Thanks for joining us tonight. As always, the man in there on all the shows. Really appreciate it. He was in me today, having a bit of crack. Sean, Bailey back. Wants a piece of Becky Lynch.
Seems that's what's going to happen. Good to see Bailey back. Promo-wise was grand, I suppose. I think Becky's a bit more seasoned on the mic. This is the first time I feel that since Becky has turned on Lyra, the crowd have actually committed to booing her. And I think that's in no small part to her wearing the Chicago Cubs gear because they were in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Green Bay, Wisconsin! And obviously their rival, shout out Mr. Kennedy, their rival club is, I can see the goosebumps. Their rival club is Chicago. So that got a bit of a boo. By a bit of a boo, I mean quite a large boo. So yeah, a good promo. Becky's slap, I think, the slap was about as weak as piss. I don't even think they acknowledged it. The clothesline out of the ring she took was way better. But the thing that I'm kind of more interested in for this is that Lyra Valkyria is still in the middle of this and doesn't seem as happy to see Bailey back as you would have imagined. Because apparently Bailey made no effort to return her calls or contact her or do anything like that. So what I'm thinking, and I was going to say Becky and Bailey at Evolution, but instead of doing that, we're getting it next week on Raw. So what I'm guessing they do for Evolution is Becky defend the title in a 3-way with Bailey and Lyra. That seems to be the direction they're going. But no, good stuff.
Yeah, interesting. So we probably have Lawyer Acosta and Bailey the title next week to set it all up.
Inadvertently, I imagine.
Yeah. Throw a foreign object in, and Becky gets to use it instead of Bailey by mistake or something like that. Yeah.
Can we just acknowledge how bad the women in wrestling are at contacting each other? Because I believe this happened only recently with Jade. What is the crack with the women of wrestling? Just not being able to send a text. Yeah, listen, do you remember we were tag team partners, and do you remember we went through this? I'm actually all right. Don't worry about it. All these women are ignoring the text messages.
Too much time on TikTok. Too much
Well,
time on TikTok.
Well, you do know you do know backstage is a political minefield, and like everyone's reaching for those brass rings that are in there and stuff like that. So you're not necessarily going to get caught up in your old buddies thing when you've already stomped on top of them to reach up to that briefcase or that belt. That's going to be the least of your worries. Yeah. What are we making on Bailey at the moment, folks? Did you listen to any of the clips from her Chris Van Vliet show? Talking about, she kept on referring to obviously Sasha as Mercedes and all, and then she was talking about like, I don't know what the office kind of thinks at the moment. Me and Hunter are good and all this kind of thing. It was kind of like, I'm absolutely pissed off. And, she's kind of saying, everything I try and all, and, it doesn't seem to be received. I don't feel that I hit the heights of Becky and Charlotte and this kind of stuff. I don't seem to be held in that kind of regard and all this kind of thing. Kind of felt nearly like a shoot and an interview, that kind of way. And it's any thoughts on it?
When I was watching it, I thought it looked like she wanted to say more to me. It looked like she wanted to get more out, and she was kind of hinting one way and hinting another way, and like that, referencing Mercedes Monet or whatever her name is this week. She definitely wanted to say more, and I can see why she'd be so unhappy. I get it, because the whole Becky coming in last minute, that was a bit messy, and I think they could have done that the next night or something like that in some way. You know yourself, the Raw after WrestleMania have the returns and so on. So I can see why she's annoyed, 100%. But she definitely wanted to say more.
Yeah, she leaned a lot on. I got the feeling from her, and let me know your thoughts on it as well. I got the feeling that kind of like she was really enjoying the damage control stuff, but she probably kind of felt it didn't really hit the levels of which it wanted as a women's faction or something like that. But they were putting a lot of work into it. She was talking about the hair and everything, the character development and all that kind of stuff. And then she was also talking about coming up with finishers, and it sometimes they feel a little bit clunky depending who you're working with and all that kind of thing. And it was weird. She was talking about them being the hugger and the two inflatable guys that come up and how she cut them up and they sold them off and in trading cards and all this kind of stuff. Like it was a very, very interesting interview. I have to say, I'm a Bailey fan, big time Bailey fan. I think she's excellent and stuff like that. And like yourself, I can see but I can kind of also see kind of why it's gone by her a little bit, and she's kind of missed a little bit of a step maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, to a degree, you have to kind of look at the person themselves, and you have to put yourself out there. And it's been shown in the past that you have to kind of push for your ideas, and you have to kind of, like you said, it's very politically motivated. And she probably could have used a bit more weight to push forward. So, and she's a fan first as well. She's always been a fan. We know that, and that's the thing. So maybe there's a bit of that too.
Yeah, I don't know, Sean. What do you think? Background in the background, in the political circle, in the background of what you get there, it's probably difficult on the women's side to be aggressive enough, isn't it, to get what you want? Like you can tell with Becky, she's probably backstage bending ears to get what she wants and what she wants to push through and how she wants to evolve and change. I'd imagine Charlotte is 100% the same. Is Bailey maybe just a little bit too nice that she's not gonna kick doors in and go, "Hey, Hunter"?
I don't know. I think she knows her place. She's not like Charlotte, like this fucking nepo baby who cries and gets everything because of her relatives. I think with Bailey, her heel run wasn't great. The end of her hugger run wasn't great. Her heel run, I didn't like that at all. Like I thought it was boring at first, and then I just found it like annoying, and not annoying in an entertaining way, like annoying in actually I would prefer not to watch this kind of way. But then she got injured. She was in that big title program with, I think it was Bianca, who was champion at the time, and she had freak accident. Only came back at SummerSlam the year after, and then Damage Control was a bit of wishy-washy shite. Like they were just fall girls. And
she did actually allude to the fact that the injury that she sustained was a lot more than what people know, and that only a handful of people know what happened with the injury, that it was more than what was reported, and that's why it was much longer and certain things. She alluded to the fact that after the injury, actually, that she couldn't even walk at one stage and stuff like that, and also there was a lot more to the injury than what was reported, which is fair enough.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think with Becky, she got in that position because people were so bored of Charlotte. So the fans made her that. Now, I think now that Becky's in that position, I'd imagine she can maybe have a little bit of control. I don't know if we've gotten that with Bailey yet. And I don't know how we're going to get it. I was going to say bring back the hug people and bring back the inflatable buddies, because that was when she was great. But I don't know about that. They're
She
probably
started
somewhere
getting
in
booed at the end of that. I think that's, and then she got a bit annoyed and so on. Yeah, so
yeah, she was
but it
injured, I
might be.
think. Yeah,
It
she was
might
injured
be a
that
good
time.
refresher.
I don't know, but like she's talented. I think she is a very nice person. You can tell, like in the interviews and everything, that she seems nice. But in wrestling, sometimes to get where you need to be, you have to do things that aren't necessarily very nice.
So
I'm making that sound like mafia or something.
Yeah, but I suppose the difficulty as well, Bren, is if you don't have that inside you, you can't be that person. So, you know what I mean? And that's kind of where I was alluding to with Bailey. She's such a genuine, nice human being. All the stories we hear about her. We were speaking last week about how LJ Cleary was training with her and stuff like that and all. The amount of time she gives up to people to try and help them and stuff like that and all, in a selfless kind of way. We only really hear about it because of the real ability of social media, really. Otherwise, we wouldn't even hear about it, to be honest. And I just think... Go on,
sorry.
yeah. No,
I was going to say just on that. I haven't, like, I was talking to a friend who auditioned for a role in a small part in the movie. Right, he was going for a bad guy, and the feedback he got was, "You just don't look like a bad guy. You're too nice." And like exactly what you just said, it says we can see you're not convincing as a bad guy because we can see you're a terribly nice guy. So I think you might be onto something there, and maybe Sean with the complacency comment. I think the two of you are onto something. It's a mixture. It's a mixture of all.
And I'd like to put it out there as well. There's nothing wrong with being a genuine, nice human being either. You know, it's something that's few and far between in life at times.
Well, Becky's a genuine human being. Like Becky's like I listened to not a great reader, so I listened to Becky's autobiography on the Audible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's deadly. It's brilliant. She comes across as genuine, very funny. I like how she I like how she did the layers of the book. So if you haven't read it or listened to it, I absolutely recommend it. But she's a genuine person, but also a good example of self-promoter.
Yeah, but I think as well, if you think about, let's say, the tension that was there between her and Charlotte for a long time and what went on, stuff like that, I don't imagine Bailey getting herself into that situation with someone. I don't see it. You know what I mean? Because you look about it, even when she was disappointed when Sasha left and Naomi left and all, she was vocal about it and she put it out there. That's the human side of her that was coming out. She wasn't trying to throw shade at WWE or AEW or TNA or New Japan or whatever it was that they were working for. She was just putting it out there that two of her friends have gone and she felt sad by that situation. You know what I mean? And I just think that's just the way she is. And look, if that dampens down the level at which you hit, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's just, if you're striving for something else, then you got to evolve and be something else. You know what I mean? And if that's not your comfort zone, then you got to just sit within your comfort zone, be happy with where you are and stuff. But yeah, big up to Bailey. Great interview and stuff like that as well. Yeah, so we had that then. Then we rounded out Jey Uso defeating Sheamus, Rusev, Bronson Reed to advance to the semi-finals in the King of the Ring tournament. I have to say, I'm really liking Sheamus at the moment when he came out and he goes, I'm the bully who bullies bullies and all that kind of stuff and all, you know. And he goes, you didn't bother me even when you were Rusev. You know what I mean? All this kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. What was your thoughts on this one, Jey Uso? Going into the King of the Ring, advancing into the semi-finals.
Oh dear.
Look, I see the direction they're going. I see we look at the brackets now in a bit, I think. But the ending to this reminded me of a SmackDown about 20 years ago. I don't know, lads, if you remember, where Angle, Undertaker, Steve Austin, loads of them came out. Booker T, they all did their finishers and all that. It was the ending was hectic. It was brilliant. Very good. It was very good. I thought we seen a really good side of Rusev. And again, I think it comes down to every one of these people have a story moving forward. This is Jey Uso's story. He's going out. He's advancing to the next round. Jey Uso's not going to win King of the Ring. He is being put forward to put the next person over. It's as simple as that. So the ends will justify the means on that. But this was fun. This main event was electric. How did Sean? You said, "Oh no," there. How did you feel about the whole thing?
I just I wasn't a fan of Jey Uso as champion. So the idea of him being jolted right back into the title picture so quickly, you know, not having to earn it really, like he was just added to that fatal 4-way match. But I still really enjoyed it. Part of me thinks at the ending, as you said, I do understand that reference. You talked about SmackDown being hectic back in the day. I think part of that, it was to combat the Dangerous Alliance, and also because unfortunately the match beforehand was Liv Morgan and Kairi Sane, and within like,
of course,
10-15 seconds, Liv ended up pretty badly dislocating her shoulder. So it left them with a lot of extra time. So they really wanted to overbook it and make it crazy. But no, Jey Uso is able to get the win. Can you imagine King Uso? King Yeet. Doesn't that just fill your heart with the worst sense of dread? Not too dissimilar to
what about Jay? What about Jay 316?
I don't think he'll have to.
Gotta give him something. Like he's after losing his world heavyweight belt back to Gunther. Gunther with the mush on him, and we're going to talk about it with this Goldberg thing being straddled on him. Surely the payoff for Jay dropping the belt back to Gunther would be, listen, put the crown on you. How about that, kid? You can be King Jay 316. You can bash your Bibles all you want.
Jay 316 said 2 words, yeet.
Yes. There's a shirt. There's a shirt.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you work for Jey Uso? That was brilliant.
Come out with 2 bottles of Prime like awesome.
Load. While sitting next to the Slim Jim table.
Yeah,
and celebrating on the whiskey ladder.
It wasn't
going through the Slim Jim table.
It wasn't quite the fireball ladder, but it was a table's a table at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And
Michael Hay is in the ring with him, looking all shocked. Jay 316 says, "I just whooped your ass."
I can't wait for the Slim Jim table, whiskey ladder, and exclusive event chair match. The TLC match.
They need to be careful, because if this goes a little ways and they don't follow through, poor old Rikishi might end up having a heart attack the way these things are going.
He is the biggest. He moans more than anyone on this screen ever could.
You want to talk about biased? I mean, this is like if I was booking my son in a match, of course he'd win every single match. You know what I mean? If I was booking my son would be champion forever. We're going to do that. He's delusional, absolutely delusional. He'd fire the whole creative team. WWE's never been better. Is he like he's on? Yeah. What's he want? Does he want the dance segment in the middle of the Royal Rumble or something like that? Not having it. Forget about it.
I think he just wants the bloodline that The Rock showed at the Mania press conference last year, just plastered everywhere. And like, look at all these people. You don't have Deuce from Deuce and Domino, do you? You don't have Roman Reigns. You don't have Jey Uso. You don't have Lance Anoa'i.
I should have downloaded it the other day. There was a picture on Twitter the other day of all the bloodline, and it has if Rikishi booked wrestling, and they all had the belts. Every one of them had a belt on them. It was cool.
The one thing I remember Rikishi saying was, you look at these big guys like John Cena, Cody Rhodes, all these people. How would you feel if they won the belt and then had it immediately taken off them? Would you be complaining? and everyone's like, well, John Cena retained in Elimination Chamber, and then Batista immediately cashed in on him.
Yeah, but if it made, but even at that, look,
And
if it makes sense, it makes sense.
and I don't remember hearing John Cena Senior punching holes through his walls and claiming he was done with this company, like Rikishi is. So,
Oh, he's not. He needs that Legends contract. Go way out of that.
Speaking of Legends contracts, sounds like they're quite lucrative from what I heard during the week from Devon Dudley. Not too bad.
Surprised. It was for a legend.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Acers, today marks 20th anniversary of Summer of Punk after winning the Ring of Honor World Championship. Stealing my history section again, Acers. Stealing my history section.
He's all over.
Jilly, yeah, absolutely. I was gutted for Liv as well. I know a lot of people are thinking they needed a bit of dampening down, but absolutely looked a real sore injury. Speedy recovery. They're talking at least 4 to 6 months anyway, but hopefully should be okay. And what's a crack, Niall and panel? Big up, Daz. Hope you're good, my friend. Hope you're good. Acers, they teased Seth Rollins cashing in the briefcase on Cody Rhodes after winning WWE Championship at SummerSlam. I think we're looking at a cash in at Saturday night's main event, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's my thinking. What's a crack, lads? Big up, Keith. Keith, don't go anywhere. Your boy is back. Goldberg. Yeah.
Holy Ray.
We're going to get into it. Don't worry. It's coming. Stay alive, Keith. Stay in that chat. Unfortunately, WWE Creative are getting the Usos back together. What's unfortunate about that? They're probably the greatest ever tag team to do it.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
They've had their tag run and their breakup and their tag run after their breakup already.
Listen. Undertaker wants to join WWE Creative team. Apparently he has.
I heard he's on it.
You boys sent me something today saying he has, weren't you?
I heard I seen a news article today, and it's saying that he's 100% on it. Yeah, that's the very thing that I sent.
Well, when you send it to me, I soak it up into the slides. That's how I roll.
But that wasn't the only source. I seen it on a few websites as well. Now look, you know what wrestling websites are like. They'll make 4 headlines out of 2 sentences. You know what I mean? And Undertaker probably said maybe in 20 years or something like that. But to my knowledge, according to each article that I read, he's already a part of it, and he's already had creative. He's already had a creative hand in some of the things that have happened recently. So who knows? Hasn't been confirmed by WWE.
We always knew it was going to be very difficult to step away after having that career, to step away and just not be involved and wanting to be hands-on and stuff like that. And I think it's interesting if you followed LFG and stuff like that. It's interesting his take and the way he looks at things compared to others and stuff like that. And also, I think it would be nothing but good, to be honest. And this is me coming not as a Taker fan, as you well know, but we shall say, but it's going to be interesting. I suppose while we have to slide up, boys, 2-hour SmackDown. Are we happy?
Delighted.
Absolutely.
Never should have gone 3 hours. Absolutely. There's a point in time, and I think the last time was during the pandemic, where I thought SmackDown was better than Raw. And that was 2 reasons, or 3 reasons. 1, Roman Reigns. 2, I was in Thunderdome for a few SmackDowns, so that was good fun. I got kicked off. I got kicked off once, I think, and my brother got kicked off I got kicked off twice. The first time they just kicked me off for no reason. The second time I was actively screaming shit repeatedly into the microphone to see if they pick up, and then the third thing is the 2 hours. Raw was in a terrible state because it was a terrible show and it was too long. This was a good, solid wrestling show that had enough time to not overstay its welcome, but get everything it needed to get in. And the third hour, I think, made SmackDown the weakest, not WWE show, the weakest wrestling show in a week. In a normal week of wrestling shows, SmackDown easily became the worst when that third hour came on. It did nothing but extend the show, clog it up with filler, and heavily hurt the quality. So I'm really hoping that it does stay 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
or even they could do a compromise. You know, the way Raw nowadays goes anywhere from 2 hours to even something like that could be fine.
That ain't going to work with this, because on the third hour the Rainmaker's kicking in, so they don't have that option unless they tell you after 2 hours, pop over to our YouTube channel for the last half hour or something like that. Or
this show looks brutally boring, but I take it over 3 hours of SmackDown.
Well, there's a few arguments for 3 hours. I think the main one being advertising, and obviously they get a lot of revenue and money from that. But then more wrestlers get more time on TV and so on and so on. But I wholeheartedly agree with Sean. And for me, I think Raw should be 2 hours as well. Outside of a pay-per-view, a wrestling show should be a solid 2 hours. And the best of the best gets on the cream rises to the crop, and that's it. If you're not any good on them, you're going to main event.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Like, imagine inviting your friend around saying, "Hey, man, do you want to watch Raw?" And you're like, "Yeah, man, sure." God, I haven't watched it in years. Anyway, how long's it? 3 hours, and then hang up the phone, blocked on Facebook, never hear again. Because that's too long for a pay-per-view. I think that's fine because it's presenting. You're paying for it, so it should be a little more than a TV show. But it's a TV show. 3 hours. Imagine one episode of Rainmaker. It's 3 hours long. I see the truth doesn't take sides, lawyers do. So it seems like a courtroom-based drama. So that doesn't seem too bad. But 3 hours of a single episode is ridiculous.
Okay,
There's not even any Slim Jim tables in it. Like, what's the point?
Okay, so if we take that into account with Raw and with SmackDown, and we have NXT doing its thing, we have this main event stuff doing its thing, we have the speed stuff on Twitter and stuff like that, what are we going to do with this pile of talent that doesn't see light of day? Are we going to have to bring back a Velocity? Are we going to have to bring back a Sunday Night Heat? Are we going to have to do something there? Are we going to have to build up something? I don't know. Do we reintroduce something like a cruiserweight show? We hear stories that WWE might want Mr. Iguana more on the show. Where does he go if it's pegged back? Where do these people go? And this is not like the cream of the crop rise to the top, as you said, Brent. This is like there's some still very talented people down there, you know, like the Otis of this world, the Tesauers of this world, you know, carrying crosses of this world, dare I say, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Where do those people go who are super talented that demonstrate what they can do and potentially have the opportunity of then moving up to a SmackDown or a Raw or whatever it is? You know, because if you look at it logically they've cut nearly 2 hours of programming between Raw and SmackDown now. So that's 2 hours gone. Whatever you say about advertisements, there's still going to be advertisements on the show. But whatever you say about advertisements, you're still talking about losing 6 matches.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I think that's a good argument for it. It's part of the argument. But for me, when a show is 3 hours, does more filler. And regardless of how good you are, if you're part of the filler, I don't think it does you any favors. You're either going to have a record full of B-sides with a couple of hits, or you're going to have a record full of hits with one or two B-sides. What do you do with them? I think, maybe you create another Velocity, maybe you create another Heat. But for me, like a lot of people that I talk to that still watch wrestling, they fast forward through it. They fast forward, particularly Raw. Like it's like, they either fast forward through it or they watch the results. Because like that, as Sean said, when people hear Raw is 3 hours these days, it's not a big selling point. It's like 3 hours. Sure, who has time to sit down for 3 hours?
Well, see, I'm not against the timing of either of those. Those two shows as 2 hours for me is fine. Yeah. My concern is this other pool of talent. What do you do with that then? Where do they go to showcase what they can do? And the one thing I don't want, and we said it, when Raw went on to Netflix and it started going back to 2 hours, kind of religiously, there was a lot of rush. There was a lot of weird episodes of Raw. There was like 6-mans and 4-ways and all this kind of stuff, just trying to get everyone on there to get their bit. And when we complain about that in AEW, especially with the pay-per-views where every man and his dog rocks up to have a match, we don't like it. So we also don't like it if you try and butcher it into 2 hours.
Yeah.
So this SmackDown product that's there now, if they're going to shave that hour off, or by definition on the USA, they have to, that hour contains a certain amount of wrestling, which would be the middle section maybe on the show, because obviously the end stays there and how they set up for the next episode and stuff like that. So it's where do those people go who are super talented? You know what I mean? I mean, you look at the women's division; it's absolutely stacked at the moment. So I think
back. Sorry, you can finish. I was going to say bringing back Velocity and Heat for nostalgia, but also those shows had purpose. But I liked, Niall, how you threw out all these ideas, and then you mentioned, bringing in Mr. Iguana, like that was solved to 2 hours of SmackDown. Like just solely bringing in Mr. Iguana. I mean, it could work. What if it's a 3-hour show, 2 hours of SmackDown, the other hour is just Mr. Iguana doing stand-up and karaoke with his iguana?
Well, no, this is the follow-on from last week's report where WWE reported that they want to use it more on WWE TV. So,
yeah.
You know, what are they going to do? Are they going to do another, like, a snake pit like Jake Roberts, but it's Mr. Iguana or something like that? Or,
bring
something
back
like that.
Gimmick talk shows.
Fine. I'm all in on that. I grew up on Piper's Pit and everything else. I'm in.
Yeah.
It's not a problem, brother.
Bring back Tuesday Night Titans.
But that's all time, and that has to go somewhere. But I lay you odds, if they did a snake pit kind of thing, iguana pit, call it if you want, with Mr. Iguana, and it was on a Velocity show or a Heat show on the Sunday, we're going to watch.
100%. Absolutely. I'm interested.
And especially if they use those shows as a build-up to shows that are on the SmackDown and the Raw and the pay-per-views and the Saturday night's main events and stuff like that and all. Like, who's not going to watch if there was an iguana pit or whatever they call it this week with Mr. Iguana, and his guests are Goldberg and Gunther, and they both destroy each other and destroy the set. And it goes mad. So like I don't know. I just think it needs a bit of figuring out. I think the problem for WWE at the moment is they're just drenched. We keep on saying it. They're drenched in talent. They could literally wring out a towel and give AEW 3 more shows a week. No problem. Think about it logically, like, you know what I mean, with the amount of talent they have.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. Is it's all well and good down to 2 hours, but where does everyone else then go? So that's what I figured out. Remember, Velocity and Heat were good shows.
He was brilliant. He was fantastic.
Velocity was my go-to for Kendrick in London, remember?
Kendrick in London, yeah, and but that I think you answered your own question a minute ago. If you put that on Heat, everybody's going to tune in, and that's what they want. They want people to tune into Heat, so why not? I think there's no perfect solution to this. I think we all have valid points here, and for me, it's coming down to preference. But like that, to me, 2 hours is optimal for wrestling. I find with 3 hours, as I said, the main problem for me is I just go up and down, and sometimes like, oh shit, I have to rewind it because I'm after missing that and so on. So yeah, look, we'll see what happens. Let's see what happens with the SmackDown 2 hour experience, and let's see how they do it against Raw. Going to 2.5, 3.
From my point of view, I always think about it in terms of the wrestlers, because from my point of view, I always believe in a situation like a big company like TKO and stuff like that. If you're not adding value, you're adding cost, and we know where that ends up. And that's always my biggest problem, Honestly, I cried when I saw that decrepit limbo foot come out to the ring on the Gunther segment. Even the kick, he barely got the leg off the ground in the chains for the kick, didn't he? When he came down, yeah. Thank God that SmackDown's going back to 2 hours in August. There we go. Remember when they had Benoit on screen in Thunderdome?
Oh my Jesus, yeah.
They had, I was on
lots
screen,
of them.
That was worse.
Yeah. AEW Dynamite last week was 4 hours, absolutely
That's
awful. Right. There you go.
I think
Killer Cross contract. Killer Cross contract is up soon. That'll become a storyline. Don't worry about that. That'll become 100%. A storyline. It'll be sorted. He's not that naive. He's not that naive. Right, let's get in and let's talk about this. Let's pull this apart. I was interested to hear what Bully Ray had to say on Busted Open Radio, because I kind of think of Bully Ray as being more than just a kind of a Legends contract. I feel he's kind of like a WWE employee, because he does all the auxiliary shows and stuff like that, and he rocks up on the kickoff shows, and he gets involved in things and stuff like that. So, but Bully Ray says WWE's booking of Goldberg's return is insulting to the fans. He was talking about how a number of different ways they could have done it, and the funny thing about it, and it sparked an interest in me. He spoke about how Nick Aldis just made the match official. Goldberg didn't shove him up against a wall or anything like that to force it. But Nick Aldis was filling in for Adam Pearce. And I was thinking, what if Adam Pearce rocks up next week and goes, I never made this match. It's not official. And then Goldberg comes and attacks Adam Pearce to get the match. And maybe it works that way or something. So they can roll it back and fix it. But yeah, what give us your thinking there? There's his last 10 matches or whatever it is. Obviously the Lashley ones are the longest ones. There we go. But there's his last 10 matches, you know. And I like Gunther's approach, isn't it? I guess I can spare 3 minutes.
Love Gunther.
Yeah.
Love Gunther.
I will just say, why can't the GMs just have the balls to say no to a match? Can you imagine just this happens? And he's like, I want one more match. And then Adam Pearce says no. End of segment.
Well, you see, I had a beautiful idea on this. My idea on this was, right, that Nick Aldis said yes to the match to drag Raw down because he's the GM of SmackDown. And that you could get a real good storyline going there between Pearce and Aldis, where they could just rock up on social media and make a match for each other's shows on the QT and just drop them out there and stuff like that. And you grab the two boys. And I tell you, people would pay to see Aldis versus Pearce. That would be kind of cool. I think.
My God, yeah.
And it would be good.
Scrap Daddy so versus Magnus. Yeah.
See, I wanted Goldberg not to get his match and then go into the gorilla position and grab Hunter by the throat and all that kind of stuff and all. And, you know, really, really set this whole thing up. That this guy, he's coming in and he's getting his match and there's nothing anyone could do about it and set the scene for it. Like what Bully said, there's loads of stuff they could have done. But if you he rocks out there and he goes, I'm next, who's next, I'm next. And then it goes backstage and it's Aldis going, for Saturday night's main event, it's confirmed. Goldberg versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. And you're there going, he didn't grab you by the throat. He didn't put a gun to your head. He didn't put your head in a chair and threaten to break your neck. You just gave him the match. Like, he hasn't been here since 2022. When he is here, he's 2-minute man. What the hell? How does this guy get a world title match? You know
it's laziness. Laziness on WWE.
Just being reminded of these matches is making me very upset. Do you know where people remember where they were when JFK got shot? I remember where I was when Goldberg beat The Fiend.
Wow.
It was the worst. He beat him with his suplex. The Fiend was meant to actually win that. I'm not sure if you know this, but he was meant to win. And Goldberg said for the young, I can't remember, it's bullshit, but he said it was something about the younger fans in Saudi. It would be a better message if, the heroic man who just shows up and gets a title shot beats the unstoppable monster that people actually really, really like. And Bray Wyatt was at a gagging point to do it, so we had to do it. And then, Undertaker match, I'm so shocked to find that only went 8.5 minutes. I could have swore that went at least 20. Well, it felt like it.
Lord. Maybe that includes entrances, does it? This guy loafing doors at the far side of the arena, and then coming out the sparklers and all that.
And the Drew McIntyre match, I don't think I've ever had more anxiety in my life watching a wrestling match than I had that one.
The Bobby Lashley ones. Oh,
and the best part was he destroyed his kid after, and that was meant to be us going, oh no, that's terrible, get him off. We were all just cheering like the place went mental.
I reckon if you agree to a Goldberg match in your career in WWE, they should have to sign a contract saying they can never fire you, that you're a lifer, because you're willing to do it.
And there's only 2 people, or no, 3 people here actually who aren't with the company anymore. So
tell me this. What about the pop he got when he came out?
It's undeniable. Absolutely undeniable. And this is the thing. To my knowledge, this is Goldberg's last. This is it. This is it. So he says, like most wrestlers. But if this is couple-fold for me. First of all, this is WWE just being lazy. They even acknowledged it on commentary. They said, the rumors are true. The match is official. We all knew this was going to happen. And I just think they're just taking advantage of it. They're just being lazy. Let's just give him a deal. He's going to go out on his back. He's going to get a nice little payoff, and then hopefully he'll ride off into the sunset. But here's the thing: the pop, he got a Road Warrior pop. It was incredible, and that's undeniable. So as mad as people are on the internet about Goldberg, he's still got an appeal. People still love him, and the pop is still there. And when the people speak, That's it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Was the screams of joy or screams of absolute horror and despair?
Whatever it was a scream is a scream. As they say, whether you're booing me or cheering me, I'm getting a reaction.
You just imagine a horror movie where everyone's running away as soon as comes, everyone starts fleeing out of there. Look, he is popular, right?
Yeah.
On that, that's me doing Goldberg's theme. Better than Death Forever will always generate oh shit, Goldberg's here kind of thing. But the thing is with Goldberg, it's the fact that he was never a ring general. I don't mean that as a pun. Well, saying that well compared to Gunther, but on his own. But the fact that he is old and Father Time has caught up with him, and it's the fact that he comes back every time, and it's always the main title picture. It's never anything else. So it just feels like so wasteful, and it's a shame because Gunther. A lot of people weren't happy with him losing the belt. A lot of people weren't really happy with his run. He has a chance to win that good faith back, but he has to go through Goldberg.
I'll grant you that. But here's the thing. When Gunther beats Goldberg, not if, when he beats Goldberg, because they're not going to put the belt back on Goldberg.
They said the same thing about The Fiend.
They did. But when he does, he can then walk around and say, I retired the bald guy. I retired WCW's best. I retired Goldberg. And he can walk around and say that. It doesn't matter how old Goldberg was. Like, if you retire Goldberg as a wrestler, you know what I mean? It's like if they had given the streak ending to The Fiend as it should have been, as an example. That could have been something huge. It could have been something big. So, to me, what's wrong with it? Let's give him his flowers. Look, he did really well. He was exciting back in the day. If this is his last run, best of luck. If he comes back in the next year, I'll be pissed.
Yeah.
But if this is his last run, that's it. Give him his flowers. He's earned it. Why not?
If he makes a pinky promise that this will be his last, he gets dessert after dinner.
For all you Bret Hart fans in the chat and who subscribe to the channel, that was not my view. That was Bret's. Just to let you know.
I don't even think you have to like Bret Hart to be annoyed with this. But I would, yeah. Jesus, man.
But what's it? But what's the point of being annoyed with that? And I'll tell you, it comes to me.
There's a lot of point being annoyed.
No, but this comes down to
because we're entitled to be annoyed.
No, not on my watch. Because this
Sean's about to get up and loaf the door there and do his entrance.
Like the hero Bill Goldberg.
I hope you're nowhere near fingers. No, look. Here's the thing. Like it comes back to Gunther being able to say, "I retired Goldberg," one of the biggest names in wrestling history. And if he can walk around and say that, if he can use that as an accolade, this hasn't been a bad thing. This hasn't been a waste. So let's just sit through the couple of weeks of, Jesus, he looks a bit gassed. He looks a bit, so what? So what? Exactly. We're going to have the entrance. It's going to be deadly. And then when Gunther wins, everybody's going to be happy. You know, ends justify the means.
We're assuming Gunther wins.
Oh my God, you have to put that into my head now.
I'm just saying, and listen, I have a theory on that as well, by the way, because my creative juices were flown this week over this, you know. Keaton, question for you guys: what do you think Triple H's plans are for Stephanie McClure? I could tell you, but Stephanie McMahon wouldn't be very impressed, so I'll leave that for the moment, Keith. Up to your own mind. Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton at SummerSlam, no problem. Yeah. Trent Ball watching Equalizer, lovely. That's what I want to hear. What you thinking? How does this play out? I'll let you guys go first. I have an idea. This is how I book it. I'm a crazy motherfucker.
For me, I at the start, I probably would have. I don't normally agree with Bully Ray because I'm not a big fan of Bubba. But for me, I think he's right. There should have been a storyline here. Something should have happened, but it didn't. So for me, from here on in,
we still have 3 weeks nearly.
Well, this is it. Something may or may not happen, but but the match is going to go ahead no matter what. And for me, this is all about the conclusion. Whatever happens in between, then we know Gunther's going to get the better of him 1 week. Goldberg's going to get his back another week. Maybe Goldberg's sons gets involved, and then I think after Gunther pins him, it's a shake of a hand, it's a raise of the arm, and then a ride off into the sunset.
Well, you see, the match doesn't have to go ahead because where's all these R-Truthers who got R-Truth reinstated? Why don't they come out now in the masses and hate on this and crash the wave onto the shore about the Goldberg match? They got R-Truth rehired. So why don't they voice it out there and get him out of this match?
It's been
done out
before.
Of here.
I think after the Brock Lesnar match that you have in the list here, anytime Goldberg pricked up, we complained and we moaned and they did nothing to stop it. So even if we use the same vitriol and energy that we had for R-Truth or Ron Killings, it's not going to work. So, look, here's how I see it going. He's going to cut himself open on the door. He's going to trip open his entrance. He's
Burning the sparkles.
He's going to pull his hamstring doing the kick with the pyro. He's going to do a spear, dislocate his shoulder, be winded. Gunther's going to hit him with a...
This is not the week to be mentioning shoulder injuries, just saying.
Shove pin. Goldberg wins, probably.
You can't have that, Aces. If that was to happen, Bret Hart would have no credibility anymore if that was to happen.
There was a picture in the chat, I think, of there was a very good picture of Bret Hart standing beside Gunther. It was deadly.
Yeah, with the Canadian tracksuit on. Yeah.
100%, yeah. So,
here, do you want my take on it?
Yes, hit me.
Right. My take on it is that Goldberg batters Gunther to within an inch of his life. Seth comes down and cashes in. And our friend Goldberg joins the faction. Because Brock obviously isn't available.
Jesus. I mean, to be honest, I'd be down with that, but there's only one flaw in that. Goldberg doesn't want to work. You know what I mean?
But he ain't gonna have to work. He can just stand in the background. He can be the Tamatonga or the Tangaloa of the group. Doesn't have to do nothing. Just stand there and act all Goldberg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But I mean,
there for the fun. I don't really mean that.
I sure hope not.
Well, look, well, it wouldn't be. I don't think that would be the worst thing to happen. It would be so far left, we wouldn't have expected it.
See, for me, it's a very difficult situation as well, because this week I have been asked, am I getting Goldberg t-shirts in?
And are you getting Goldberg t-shirts in?
Well, I have to look after my people, don't I?
And will they be the same quality of this fine t-shirt that I got?
Where did you get that t-shirt?
I'm glad you asked. Third floor, Stephen's Green, top right, just to the left of Tasha. It's called Wrestling Mania. Exclusively from there.
And I heard that if
you were in the other day.
I heard, and I also heard that if you go in and you mention it, this is the podcast, you get 95% discount.
Oh, you're gonna get
and you get 95% discount at a black eye.
No, but you're getting a 95% discount off the WWE prices. So that brings you around to my price.
Yes,
so
that's fine.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, so take advantage. Look, I see this going. Gunther wins, and Goldberg drives off, not into the sunset, into the pissing rain, and hopefully him and his child never show up again.
Is Goldberg's last match going to be on Saturday night's main event, folks? Do we believe that, or is he going to smell the place out till SummerSlam?
It's in Atlanta, isn't it? That's his hometown, or is it?
Yeah. That's why I'm not too sure whether he's going to lose. It's his last match. That's hence the reason I'm thinking the cash in.
If we go back to what you were saying, maybe Gunther goes over, and then basically the where we see Goldberg raise his hand is he spares Gunther after the match, gives him a bit of a jackhammer and walks out, gets his flowers, walks out, Seth comes down, bam, that's it, game over, hits him with the stomp.
I don't know, I just think would have been, I know it's Atlanta, you know what I mean, and I just think if it's, I don't know.
It's odd. It's odd. It's not a big pay-per-view. I get what you're saying. It is odd that it's not a big pay-per-view. But like that, if it's in Atlanta, the home of WCW, where he was most relevant, where people genuinely loved him, where there wasn't a kind of 50-50 as in, who's that guy, or WCW guy? I don't know.
Yeah, what's the harm?
Yeah,
and also they're not. And also, I was going to say, it's normal for people to lose their retirement match. Shawn Michaels lost his retirement match. I know he had the Saudi match with DX and Burlington,
wow.
But I have erased that from my mind. So as far as I know, Shawn Michaels' career ended at WrestleMania, and he lost that match. So
we won't.
No.
Yeah, we suppose we should have mentioned this as well. Blake Monroe, Sabrina Carpenter entrance.
But also, I would say, just a warning out there. I was on a website the other day. Don't Google the name Blake Monroe without putting WWE beside it.
Let's test that.
Blake Monroe is, I believe, according to because I did not research it. To be fair, I didn't. But she is Blake Monroe is an old school porn star from the 80s.
So if you're of a certain age, Go ahead.
Well,
Far be it from us to tell you what to do.
I just looked it up, and Blake Monroe, the wrestler, came up. But I've also got Blake Monroe, be authentically you, man of God, rodeo photographer page, Indiana, washed up bulldogger.
Type porn star next to it. Actually, don't.
Come on now.
I mean,
we'll put the link in the description.
It's a bit on the nose, but like that's the thing I read, and basically, but it looks like it's not going to be relevant at this stage.
Hopefully not. That'd be a shame. Do you remember? I think Paige, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte were in a team, and they were. I can't remember what the original name was, but when you looked that up, you got something a bit filthy that would get the channel demonetized. So that's why they were called Team PCB now instead of.
Didn't the same thing happen to Sheamus though? The Banger Brothers.
I mean that writes itself.
Yeah.
Or no, it was the Bang Bros that he wanted.
Yeah, the Bang Bros.
Like that is so it's so easy to see. Like you don't even have to Google it to be like, why is
Yeah. Sheamus, you're cutting off that under 18 royalty check from the merch. Come on. Can we have Atlanta Screwjob match and have Bret Hart come out and super kick Goldberg out of it?
Can Bret Hart do a super kick these days?
To the balls, probably.
He'll probably give it a go if Goldberg's involved.
Not if the insurance company's watching anyway.
The new low blow super kick.
Yeah, the shin kick. Sweet shin.
Visions of Bret coming out. Visions of Bret coming out in the quarter lengths again with the hoodie wrapped around the waist and the shades on and the hat back and the biker jacket and all. Yeah,
I don't know.
Morris is in.
That gear.
Big up Morris. So. If Vince booked this, there would be war. Free pass for the game again. It's all about the game.
There's war. There's war for this, and Triple H booked it, and there will be war if he wins. So
Goldberg isn't winning. Vince. I would. Goldberg is not winning this. Not a chance.
Is this Triple H and this story about him potentially leaving in 18 months? And he goes, "If I'm going down, you're all going down with me. This is how it's gonna be. Forget about John Cena. I'm actually gonna ruin wrestling." Yeah, imagine.
Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, night 1 at SummerSlam.
Is Roman meant to be back soon?
Yeah, I think there's talk. All right, yeah. They're in contractual discussions.
That's never a good
turn safe search off.
I wish you told me that before I looked it up.
Yes.
I heard about this.
MJF tonight in Mexico City.
Yeah. Does he still do that bouncy castle? Not bouncy castle. Does he still do that trampoline entrance? The
bouncy castle.
I mean, how was he able to get it right for years and then gets on the big stage and decides, you know what? I don't think I'll do it right this week.
I just need the blue matches back. Remember the blue matches?
The big stage isn't for everyone.
Lovely.
Do you think they will have Survivor Series next year for a 2-night event? 100%.
Do you think so?
Do you think they could do War Games one night and then traditional Survivor Series the other night?
Or War Games men and War Games women?
Yeah. Do you know what? I didn't like War Games at all last year. I would rather they just brought back Raw or SmackDown versus NXT, but with stakes. And here's an idea about Goldberg. We were talking about him. Nick Aldis takes over from Adam Pearce and, makes Goldberg win the belt. And he says, for like 3 years in a row, Raw beat SmackDown in Survivor Series, like quite dominantly. So it's going to be John Cena versus Goldberg.
See what I've created here now? They're all on the Adam Pearce versus Nick Aldis train now. Look at this.
It's all coming together now.
Bischoff levels now, isn't it? Bischoff Austin levels. This kind of thing.
I'd love to see Adam Pearce wrestle again. He's actually...
It'd be cool.
To be honest with you, I think if they get away with it, we'd have Monday and Tuesday Night Raw. To be honest, if they thought they'd get away with it, Goldberg could easily win after that entrance hack. Jey Uso was given this belt.
As much flack as we give Jey Uso, he is not as bad as Goldberg. Absolutely not as bad as Goldberg. He can walk. He can raise his legs above hip height. So that's already 2 things he has over Goldberg.
I mean, Hulk Hogan came back in 2002 and won the belt with 4 moves. You know what I mean? It's not unusual for something like that to happen. And I don't know. I think everybody's a bit too harsh on Goldberg. Like I said, give me his flowers. He deserves it. And I'm not Mr. WCW. In fact, I'm not really a big fan of it. As you can see with the Winged Eagle belt in the background, I'm more I'm more of a WWE, WWF old school
He's
guy.
a Fed guy.
You're damn right I am. Mark
That's the
McMarkerson
new
over
moniker
here.
now. Brand the Fed guy.
100%.
Do you go to the
Yeah.
WWF zoo and ask where Hogan is?
You're damn right.
Yeah.
I'd
The
walk over
possibility
to
of
Jogger.
John Cena's final match being at Saturday night's main event is bizarre, but since he's having a match on a regular episode of programming this week, maybe it's either the last Raw or a SmackDown of the year.
I think they're saying that Saturday night's main event, just like we're saying about Goldberg's being his hometown. I think they're saying this could be in Boston.
The
So that
whole
could
month
be
of
the saving
December,
grace.
I heard, is in Boston. The whole
Oh,
month
right.
of December. So I heard they want to do, well, not the whole month of December, but they want to do Raw, SmackDown, Saturday night main event, all in Boston that week.
Him versus Travis Scott in do you remember FMW used to have the anus exploding death matches?
Jesus.
That, but Travis Scott has to have his hands tied behind his back.
I thought,
Just-
you know what? We nearly went the whole podcast without mentioning that guy.
Yeah.
He is.
He's obsessed with him. It's an obsession.
And actually, just on that, do you know the way when the commentators are speaking, they have that brutal music playing in the background that sounds exactly like Fiend, and every other song is like it.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I was watching it there the other day, and then they switched to the Saturday night main event, and they switched to the old school music. And I said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say it. I was like, yes, that is it. That's what they're missing. We don't need this R&B. This is cool with the kids type of music. It's brutal. They need to switch back to old school. Rant over.
I think it actually is a Travis Scott song now that you mention it. One of them is
Is it?
anyway. You
Oh,
know when
Probably.
they're
Lord.
you know when they're showing the drone shot of the arena as the episode starts.
Look, Travis Scott.
think
It's the same. Look, I'm gonna sound like Grandpa at the clouds right now. Old man.
Brand the
yells at
Fed
clouds.
guy. Brand the
Brand the
Fed
Fed-
guy.
Bren the Fed Man Heart. It's just like this. It's like, you know what? All that music, it all sounds the same. It's not as good as it used to be. Back in my day, when you had Limp Bizkit doing the prep work for WrestleMania 17, when you had
Yep.
Creed with My Sacrifice, that was proper. You could feel it. Kid Rock with Lonely Road of Faith, and now you have all this Fiend.
Fiend.
Oh,
Do you know the problem with My Sacrifice and all? They can't show the chair shots anymore. Remember, Austin used to upend people with the chairs in that video. That was
Yeah.
scary.
And Creed as well.
Yeah, Creed.
But again, I would take the worst of Creed over the best of Travis Scott.
Now, we'll try not to mention Travis Scott for the next few weeks. I bet you we do. Okay, no, look,
Yeah.
I'll
till
probably
he
bring
comes
it up
out,
again.
till he comes out with Goldberg in Atlanta.
But it's only to rag on him, so it's not too bad. It's not like we're praising him.
Fair enough.
Goldberg even struggling to climb the turnbuckles.
He's not climbing the turnbuckles.
What reason would he have to climb turnbuckles? He's never done that. He
Yeah.
could wrestle without ropes at this stage. SmackDown seriously needs a revamp on the roster and have a draft. It's coming. It's coming. Don't worry. It's coming. 14 December is the final time is now. Pay-per-view for John Cena. There you go.
Maybe they'll create something
Yeah.
specifically for him outside of Saturday night main event. Maybe it'll be like a Tuesday night in Texas or something like that, something similar to that. You know what I mean? Saturday night Cena. So I don't know. Sunday Cena.
Gets pinned by Mr. Cena.
Have you seen it?
John Cena Senior. We didn't say what John Cena, who John Cena it was for.
We need the draft before August for Dublin. Yeah, way before, so I know what to get into the shop. I don't want to be left with any more stock. I got Ron Cena's and all, you know what I mean? Also, not really a fan of heel turns since I think they had a chance to do something unique and didn't capitalize on it. But it appears Cody is winning the belt back at SummerSlam. So thanks for small mercies. Careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for.
Might just get
Bring
Somebody
back the rock music. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. this is
Romy's
my-
in. Can we add the Mark Goldberg limping down to the ring on Monday as a worst moment? You can have it as a worst moment, absolutely.
I read that
Yeah.
as Mark Goldbridge.
Yeah, Mark
Yeah,
Goldberg.
Imagine him on commentary instead of McAfee.
Oh God. Cena returning on my birthday. What a present.
Oh,
He is the greatest. Do you know what? I was thinking about this today.
I'm
John
sorry.
Cena, right? John Cena is the greatest of all time. And if there's a Mount Rushmore, I know it's Mount Rushmore. I should
Mount
probably learn it.
Rushmore, yeah.
Mount
Mount
That's the
Rushmore.
very one. If there is, and this is very subjective, the only thing that's not subjective about that is John Cena should be up there no matter what. He carried through the PG era. He put on a lot of bangers. He's great on the microphone. He
probably
made
should
the
be
company
off.
a lot
He
of
should be
money.
all 4 of them, should he?
Not as you said.
There
Cena,
should be a
and Cena.
Cena Rushmore.
And come here, just on that, when him and Punk did that promo, Punk mentioned a few names, and I don't think they should be on a Rushmore. I love Eddie Guerrero, but Eddie Guerrero should not be on a Mount Rushmore of wrestling.
I think he said Eddie, Hardy Race, Terry Funk.
And Hardy Race shouldn't. And I love Hardy Race, but Hardy Race shouldn't be there either. It's as simple as that. Do you know what? I won't open that kind of worms just yet. We'll talk about that another time.
There's subscribers here by the bucket load. All our Mexican contingent is gone.
Yeah.
the hell, Brad. What are you doing here?
Get him out of here.
They should be all on it. Should be a big Mount Rushmore.
Do you know what?
Yeah. Oh God, Morris. Shameless plug. You can hear all the old pay-per-view teams and Fibbers August the 22nd, or you can pay €40 to see Mark Henry in the Academy. Triple H trying to make my club scene not cool. There we go. Morris, so, €40 in or €76 for the meet and greet.
Get it to meet Mark Henry.
Yeah.
Get it.
That doesn't even get you ticket into the show, I don't think.
And by the way, that's not a shameless plug because those nights they'll be brilliant, Morris. So that's not a shameless plug at all. So that's after SmackDown, August 22nd. And I've seen videos of those nights. It looks brilliant. So yeah,
You should do a new metal versus Travis Scott night.
I think we might pop up ourselves.
Yes, noses get bloodied.
Right, we wanted to ask you in the chat here as well. Kurt Angle came out this week. WWE ranked it at 22. He believed that him versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21 was the greatest match of all time. So we're asking you in the chat there, folks, jump in and tell us what you regard as the greatest match of all time, or what is your go-to match that you go back to again and again and again, and why? Let us know. The two boys are going to have a minute to think about it. I'm sure they've thought about it already because I do preempt these things.
I have not.
Ron Killen's talking with R-Truth and K-Quick on Friday was brilliant. Oh, my God. Free into Fibbers and you can share my whiskey.
I don't drink whiskey. Do you have cider?
They do, by the copious bucket loads.
You
don't order a pint of cider and Fibbers. You order a bucket load.
Where I'll be on the 22nd of August, €40.
I'd rather have Kamala Harris cackle in my ear than do a meet and greet with Mark Henry.
Mark Henry's great.
He's cool, but he's not €40 and he's not €76 great. Do you know what I mean? It's €90 to see Mick Foley for 2 hours and do a meet and greet.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to listen to a guy either who stops the music and goes full Hulk Hogan just to get a pop. I'm not dealing with that kind of nonsense.
And because The Real American is a quality song, regardless.
Yeah.
Then one Kurt Angle was better. There we go. That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're talking
wrestling. 17.
I'm sorry, HBK versus Taker at 25 is the greatest. Now, it doesn't have to be the greatest WrestleMania match, remember. This can be the greatest match. Any match. I don't care if it was a Monday Night Raw. I don't care if it was an Afterburn match. You tell me what you believe is the greatest match. So, Keith, you're maintaining 25. I was at that, by the way. I was at that. What a dog shit WrestleMania bar that match.
It was an amazing match.
From a pro wrestling standpoint, I'd say MJF versus Bryan Danielson Revolution 2023.
Yeah, that was great. That was the Iron Man match, I think, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, man, that was stellar. The only thing that was bad was they didn't put the clock up for like the first 5 minutes, so the crowd got like very agitated very quickly. Then the clock went back up and they got into it.
Look at Chili here from a pro wrestling standpoint. Very nice. And from a sports entertainment standpoint, I'd say Cody versus Roman at Mania.
Yeah.
That's what I love about those opinions, though, because it's so subjective. It is like when you first put that into the chat, I was thinking, well, it depends on what era. It depends on like what kind of match. It depends on gender. So there was a few things that went through my head. So I had a list of matches in my head.
No. There's no barrier to entry. Like it's all, as you said, subjective, and it's amazing to see such a diverse variety of matches. And it's really cool to see because, as I said, it's a mix of eras, it's a mix of time, it's a mix of enjoyment, stakes, stage, 100%. Anything like that.
There was
Taker No Way Out was really good. That one as well.
But then I think it was a year later in Unforgiven 2007. We had the TLC with Cena and Edge, and that was deadly.
That's one
That
of my
was
favorite.
brilliant as well. It's
One of my favorite
fantastic.
movies ever.
If
Honest to
Foley
God.
doesn't allow me to hold his dentures for 40 quid, I definitely
now come on now. Come on now. You're trying to get us to go to your gig and share whiskey, and then you drop this on us. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on now.
I know where I will now no longer be on the 22nd of August.
Yeah.
I'll be in my house.
When you pick up a guy for a suplex and his grill is running down your chest, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Let's just say, I love Kurt Angle versus Taker No Way Out 2006, was it? Yeah.
I think that was it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, 2006. Yeah,
I'm surprised. I know we have Angle and Sean here, but amazed we haven't had many Kurt Angle matches.
Kurt Angle versus
I think him and Benoit came up. Him and Benoit came up.
Him and Benoit were brilliant.
Yeah, that was great. This is
Shawn Michaels and Jericho.
His match versus Sean 19.
19.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And actually, an old school one, the one that I love watching is Steamboat Savage WrestleMania 3. It's just fantastic for the time. Brilliant. Often seen as the best match on the card from a pro wrestling standpoint.
What a match that was as well. Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar.
That was fantastic.
That shooting star still horrifies me.
Yeah. Jesus.
Kane versus Shane, and he's not joking.
In the ambulance match.
He's not. He's actually not joking. You know, this is, as far as I know, he's told me this. This is his son's favorite match. His son watches this match over and over and over again. If I'm not, am I right, Morris? You've told me this before. The son is obsessed with it.
I'm gonna throw one out there to see what you think. A match that one of my go-to matches is Cactus Jack versus Triple H Royal Rumble 2000. I adored that match, start to finish.
Yeah, another one featuring Cactus Jack versus Randy Orton from Backlash 2004, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and even the one versus Edge, Mick Foley versus Edge at WrestleMania. Then.
Yeah, it was incredible.
WrestleMania 22.
Yeah, or no?
Yes, WrestleMania 22, big time. I think big time was the thing. Cena.
Peter Gabriel.
I bought that DVD in your shop.
Sledgehammer.
I had that DVD.
Yeah. I was at that. That was crazy. Remember Lita squirting the stuff all over the table, all the gasoline or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember Edge selling it all the way up the ramp, and he was shaking, and there was blood everywhere. And
that's how you do it. Because even before the Triple H Cactus Jack match, when Mankind came out, when he turned into Cactus Jack, Triple H's reaction was brilliant. I was just like, because I wasn't familiar with Cactus Jack, so even I was like, "Oh Jesus, in the name of the Father, the Son, God bless him. He's gonna kill him." Like that's the way, and it was brilliantly done.
Yeah,
but then also
Sean, go ahead, Sean. Any that spring to mind?
I was just gonna say my house is Ballyhaise for me is Cactus Jack country. We mentioned Cena. I loved the match with Shawn Michaels at Mania 23. I actually think that's a brutally underrated match. I don't see anyone talk about that.
What about the one from Raw that they had?
The 60-minute one in Raw was great. Since we're going extreme, one I watched recently again, and honestly, I was on my feet after. Like it was so kick-ass. Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka from ECW One Night Stand 2005.
Yes, that was class. Another DVD that I have.
Yeah. I was actually one of the first, one of my favorite DVDs ever, and one of my favorite pay-per-views ever. But I think, I don't know how many matches they had. Not a trilogy, more like maybe 7 or 8 or 9. One of my favorite match series is in wrestling ever. It just, oh my God, it is incredible. And the good thing about that match now, if you haven't seen it, the WWE Vault, whoever runs that channel is literally the second coming of Christ. Has that match up, because they did a thing where superstars say, "Hi, I'm whoever. My favorite match is da da da." They had Gunther on, and he had that match on. I said, "I want this match to serve as an example of what professional wrestling should never be ever again for as long as I'm here." You know, the chair shots and the way they shoot the end when he gets awesome bomb through the table, and then he does the tope suicida, but they keep the camera on Masato Tanaka so you don't see it coming. Oh my God, I'm getting pumped just even talking about it.
Yeah.
Another one
pay-per-view.
Yeah, another one with Cena, because it was so good. but also because the rest of the card, and if you know, you'll know it when I tell you, was so bad. WWE Championship triple threat: Brock Lesnar defending against Seth Rollins and John Cena from the Royal Rumble 2000 and was it 14 or I think it was 15. I think was it 15?
Ever since after COVID, all the years are one to me.
Yeah.
So, and I
But
did
that match
foundation
is on
match. So.
YouTube. It's a car crash. It's even better than you remember. Everyone has so many chances to win it. And that goes a little under the rug because it had the worst Royal Rumble match of all time 2 matches after.
Who won that? The Royal Rumble?
That year, I think it was... God, was it Batista that won it that year? Or was it Roman?
2015.
2015. I think that was... I think Roman won it that year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is that when The Rock had to come down and do that? And then The Rock was like, balls.
Yeah, because that was meant to be the, oh my God, The Rock's here, but we were all just so upset. Literally, Daniel Bryan was the guy who wanted to win, thrown out like a piece of shit. The Rumble broke. The Rumble broke. It was like having a wonderful big box of china. Then your phone goes off, it smashes everywhere. That's it. And it was like number 7 in the match. And the worst thing is that match started really well. It was in Philadelphia, so Bubba Ray Dudley came out, the big ECW connection. The Boogeyman came back, so we got to do stuff with Bray Wyatt. Then Daniel Bryan came out. Him and Bray were in a really good program at the time. And then Bryan is gone. Like when your computer breaks, says your system has encountered a failure and will now shut down. That's what the Rumble was. As soon as that happened, it had an open hell. God, there's still so many more I can think of.
That's the beautiful thing about the whole thing. Though.
Yeah,
you could have a list of 20.
Yeah,
we keep
going. Again, if Other Sean was here now, was here now, he'd obviously Lynch, have that list of Divas matches that we'd be tanking as soon as he brought
Sasha Banks, Bayley, and someone else against Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, and Emma from WWE Dublin in the Street Arena on 2017. Will be his.
2014.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then whatever happened to Punk after that, I don't know. She probably. And this.
Go on.
It's amazing how we can talk so much about like our favorite matches and get so excited and nostalgic and fond, and then you see we talk shit about Travis Scott. You see Tyson Fury, and the mood goes down. The other way I talked about I was saying earlier, Shawn Michaels, his last match was that Mania, because I've erased the Saudi match out of my head. Roman Reigns beat Drew McIntyre and the show went off the air because I've erased this out of my head. My God, it was shocking.
It was awkward.
I want to hear a post-mortem on this. I want to know I'm not alone.
Do you reckon this was even planned? Or do you reckon just Tyson went into business for himself? Because Drew looked perplexed.
Maybe Drew doing the promo, just saying, thank you, I'm sorry I couldn't get done. Good night, safe home. Possibly. But bye bye, Miss America. Why aren't you singing Miss America? American Pie. Drew, what's wrong with you? Drove me.
Although it's very hard for me to hear a bad word about the show because this was where Dom turned heel.
Honest to God, this was one of my favorite wrestling shows ever. On in the afternoon, on when the Triple H honeymoon was on. It was on BT Sports for free. It wasn't even pay-per-view.
I was at it. I was over at it.
Yeah.
The one in Cardiff.
And it had an incredible... It had probably the match of the year, Sheamus and Gunther. That's where I really feel Sheamus stepped up in the eyes of the American fans. I saw Kinahan there. I don't know if I want to go back on that.
Oh.
Easy to forget how frustrating Roman's title run could be at times.
Oh my God. It was a drizzlers at points.
Yeah, it just goes back to what Eric Bischoff says. Like he always says, like you could watch an objectively crap show for about 2.5 hours, and that last half hour could be explosive, and that's it. It'll just change your whole opinion on a thing.
Yeah.
And the last quarter of the Roman Reigns run was just poetic.
No, I remember I kept pitching that when they were doing Drew and Damian Priest at Clash of the Castle, actually in Scotland, the Punk costs him and sings American Pie with him, or tries to. Yeah,
I mean that's like that's the worst. But I will say, as bad as it was, that's the worst moment of his life is a bit extreme, isn't it? I mean,
Well,
surely worse
having
moments have happened to him or in wrestling in general.
well, the match of your life, that was probably the best
Mhm.
match of his career up until that point.
Sure.
In front of not necessarily your hometown, but people who were not too far down the
Mhm.
water, losing in such tragic fashion. Do you remember what happened? He hit Rowan with the Claymore, and then Niall's beloved Black Hoodie run-in happened, and it was Solo Sikoa.
Love Black Hoodie run-ins.
Yeah, and the crowd was so deflated. So this should have been like his world falling apart. So then have Tyson Fury come in and sing American Pie. It's just
I'm actually thinking of getting black hoodies done for the shop with run-in guy on the back of them. Or something
This is
like that,
this is my run-in hoodie. I was literally, I swear to God, I was
just plain black hoodie with run-in guy on it. Maybe a little caricature running or something like that.
the
Put me down for
balaclavas
a
or something
large.
that you can get on the.
Jason Kennedy
the
was
river.
delighted to hear the Hulk Hogan news earlier, only to be disappointed in the end.
You think Hogan would put over the Grim Reaper?
Did we get a
Jay,
conclusion on
shout
that?
out to Jay. Jay's our ex-buddy on the Four Podman. He's a huge Warrior fan, so he hates Hogan.
Oh my God, he's like a legend then, is he?
But my understanding is Hogan's all right now, is he?
Yeah, he had neck issues, but Bubba heard something else. We said he could possibly die, and then everyone gave out to Bubba, and he's like, "Oh well,
Love
sorry."
Sponge is an idiot anyway.
Why is everyone waiting around for someone who's immortal to die?
You know what?
It's kind of weird.
Bubba the love SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
What's
do we
the crack
make of
with this,
this?
Niall?
Christopher Spencer looking for a few quid off AEW and John Moxley in a lawsuit. Apparently, he was there to hand a screwdriver to Moxley in this match, but apparently he handed him the screwdriver, and then Moxley proceeded to shove him to the ground. Went flying. Looked like he took a good bump, by the way. Looked like a bit trained. But apparently from that bump, he's had alleged a load of health issues. And he's suing Tony Khan, AEW, and John Moxley. So,
yeah.
It really didn't look bad from what I saw of the bump. But obviously this has happened. This is awful.
It's hard to comment on because you don't want to say, somebody's probably just looking for a few quid because he brought maybe that's the thing, like, because like that, I mean, something probably did happen as a result of it. In saying that, I think the timing is bad for AEW. You know what I mean? It's bad enough the dude behind Tony Khan in that picture is wearing a big CM Punk t-shirt, which is one of their.
Oh my God, I only noticed that now.
Do you like my choice of pictures that I use for these things?
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%.
I'm merchandise guy.
Where could I get such t-shirts? Come here though. It's
shop, I think.
It's a weird situation. It's probably a bit I don't know. It's bad timing for AEW anyway. That's what I think. You don't want to, or maybe you do. Maybe people are like, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a watch.
Has Will Ospreay put the mockers on them? Because since he said that they're the best at everything that they do, lots of stuff has suddenly been happening that they're not the best at everything that they do. So I don't know. It's a kind of a weird one. You know, when you go out there and you're tempting fate by saying things. It's interesting. We'll keep an eye on it though. My guess is this gets settled out of court, doesn't it? They're going to drag this into court.
Yeah, I don't see it going further. But then you see those words that were below, like disability, permanent harm and stuff. That's very serious. I think that's just the act. But if those things are being thrown around, it's not like Ryan Nemeth, who got a bit bullied by CM Punk and now wants to sue the pants off Tony Khan. Like this is
how you get the zero after the comma. This is how the zeros all rank up, you see.
Absolutely. And look, it's very new. It's very new as the time we're recording this, so I'm sure more info will come out, so we can't really say too much about it. But hopefully it gets settled and everyone is okay in the end. More so the guy that got choked, because like if he got hurt off that, that's terrible.
Yeah, we hope he's all right anyway, because like I know what I said there a few minutes ago about somebody wanted to grab a few quid. I didn't necessarily mean that, but you know, you never know with these people. Somebody in America got like $100,000 for getting burned with coffee that was hot. Do you know what I mean? So you don't know these things.
I think Tony Khan should announce the verdict on Dynamite with Tony Khan has a special announcement next week.
Another announcement.
Yeah, John Moxley will be going to prison, and as such, we will have to vacate.
They should do like
the big eyes.
Do like a Judge Judy, but with Don Callis or something like that.
They need to bring back. I saw Judge. I can't remember his name. It wasn't Judge Judy. It was the same show, different guy. No, not Grinder. Is in America. But Missy Hyatt sued Bill Alfonso for crashing her car. They should do that with
Yeah,
there's
definitely
snip-
do something like that.
and there's a part of it where she hands up her book. Missy Hyatt had a book that she made, and there's like reviews in the back, and one of them is Jim Ross. Missy Hyatt will burn in hell, and they show that in like the in the trailer for it. It's so funny. But can you imagine that? They bring back Jim Sheedy for Moxley in.
I was going back on Twitter the other day with an Arsenal fan. As you know, I'm a Liverpool fan, and this Arsenal fan was going on about Arsenal's defence and how good Arsenal's defence was. And he was saying, "You've never seen a better defence than Arsenal's defence." And I put up a picture of O.J. Simpson with Johnny Cochran and all the and I said, "No one beats that defence. I can tell you that much." And he just shut down, went away. He just went away. I thought it was going to kill.
How do you respond to that, though? How do you respond to that?
You don't. That's how I shut shit down. I love X. X is awesome. God. X is my playground.
Have you seen the Naked Gun trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, but then the OJ bit.
Yeah.
He just looks at the camera and he's like,
where he's like wishing his dad, hey dad, hope I'm doing you proud. And it's just him looking at OJ. He's like, maybe not.
Right. Quick chat about this and then we'll do a bit of history because we're getting into time now. Finn Balor was asked had he any interest really in Hollywood as an actor and stuff like that, and he said zero interest. What's your thoughts on this? Could Finn Balor transition in there? Could he be that guy that Jason Statham, that kind of guy, whatever it is, action, all that kind of stuff? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts as well. Let me know your thoughts as well in the chat.
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. I don't think Balor is a good actor. I don't think he would be a good actor. I think he would probably fit on well in Fair City, which is obviously Ireland's #1 soap. But I think that's as far as his acting go. Finn Balor is a professional wrestler through and through. He has the charisma to take him through professional wrestling, but that doesn't transition into Hollywood. And that's just my opinion. I would obviously wish the guy the best. I would hope he would, if he did do something, he would be rewarded for it. As somebody who loves films, I just don't see. I can't see him in. I can't see him being any good in Hollywood. My opinion.
Okay. Sean?
I don't know. I will say, you mentioned Fair City. I actually would love to see that. Imagine him. I don't watch Fair City. Imagine him rocking up in the pub or something.
How are you about
I will say, I think if he doesn't have interest in it, he doesn't have interest in it. But I don't think the WWE and the Judgment Day especially is a really good indication of maybe not his acting chops per se, but I think he can. You see the Demon. He can be a charismatic villain. But knowing Finn and his luck, he'll get casted in like the next Tom Cruise movie. He'll be one of the 5 criminals that like cut off both his arms and his legs, and then Tom Cruise beats them in a fight, and he'll be the first one to. Because unfortunately, we can't have nice things, but I think he could do it. I think he could definitely do a few stunts. He could definitely throw him off a bridge or two, or have him take a bump off of something, or maybe he sees the WrestleMania look that he had. He writes his own story, like a Skullduggery Pleasant type story, where he wears the yellow thing and he's banana face. He's like a vigilante slasher who has to. I don't know. I'm throwing ideas. You know, Finn's like
a really weird Casey Jones.
Yeah, he's going to say, I had no interest. He's going to tell me, Sean, I had no interest in Hollywood because I hadn't heard your idea. Where did I sign? So I'll have to see. But then again, like, you know, for every John Cena and Rock, we have Triple H. And believe it or not, Deborah. I found out I was watching. I worked my way through the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, and Deborah is in one of them in like a blink and you miss it thing. Like it's an awful film, and like it wasn't too much, but like not everyone hits it. So if Finn was to do it, I think he would want to have the same success as a Rock or a Cena or a Batista. Now again, not everyone can go to space with Dwayne Johnson to be in the Fast and Furious franchise. And I'd imagine all these films, well, I can especially speak for John Cena and The Rock, they take up time. And they can, you know, take up important things such as, you know, turning John Cena heel and then having the big match where you have, I'm not going to get things. Look, I don't know. I think he could do it if he wanted to, but if the interest isn't there, then that's not going to help. So, I think Finn Balor should break up the Judgment Day and win a match before everyone to see him in a Naked Gun or something. I don't know.
I just think back to his time, that in between New Japan and WWE, when he was doing a lot of indie work and stuff like that, and he was coming out as the Joker and as Freddy Krueger and different characters like that and all. And I thought, and obviously the dynamic of moving from, like, if you think about where he was as Prince Devitt in New Japan to becoming the Bullet Club, and the dynamic of the move and that, and the change of the character and stuff like that, and also, I think he certainly would have it in him. I think there would be certain movies out there for him that are tailor-made for him. We could see with the demon character and stuff like that and all, and you could go back and do some mythological stuff and all that kind of stuff. And all. I think it'd be really cool. And I think it's something that he should consider. Maybe not at this stage and stuff like that, but I think he certainly would have it in him. I know people, Fergal ain't that guy. Fergal ain't that guy till he is that guy. Fergal for years wasn't a WWE guy, remember? Till he was Fergal that guy.
Yeah. But then to flip it, Fergal is that guy till he ain't that guy.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Very good. Very good.
Right, let's take a bit of history and some. I've only got 4. I think I've only 4. Let me see now. I have 4 notable birthdays. But
only 4.
4 very important old birthdays. So I'll run down through. 2005, CM Punk defeated Austin Aries in the main event of Ring of Honor. That before Dishonor 3 in Morristown, New Jersey, to become the new ROH World Heavyweight Champion. It was well known that Punk had already signed a contract with WWE, and in the weeks that followed, he said he was taking the ROH Championship with him. So began the summer of Punk 20 years ago this week. 1994, WWF King of the Ring was held in Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, in front of 12,000 fans. Owen Hart defeated Razor Ramon to win the King of the Ring tournament and proclaimed himself the King of Hearts. R.I.P. Owen Hart. What a wrestler. During his coronation ceremony.
For a change.
There we go. 2011, this is for you, Sean, who bailed on us and held me up at the curtain in the position for a 4-pack of Monster that I wouldn't relent to. Kelly defeated Brie Bella on WWE Monday Night Raw to win the WWE Divas Championship. Later in the show, CM Punk won a number 1 contenders match and then announced that his contract with WWE ends at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view the following month, and he intends to leave the company as WWE champion.
Sounds familiar.
2016. Yeah, WWE announced that Roman Reigns had been suspended for 30 days due to a violation of their wellness policy protocols.
Gobshite.
There we go. 1996, just for you, Sean. Sean, I put this one in for you. 1996, Sabu defeated Rob Van Dam in the main event of ECW Hardcore Heaven in Philadelphia. A young Chris Jericho pinned Pitbull 2 for the ECW World Television Championship, and Tommy Dreamer was victorious against Brian Lee in a weapons match. See, I was putting
a weapons match.
A weapons match.
A weapons
wonder
match.
What
Why
that
not just
was.
call it an Extreme Rules match? Maybe. I think they sometimes call the fans bring the weapons matches. I don't know, but yeah. Thank you for that, Niall. That made me.
This was 1996. This was 1996. Extreme Rules match wasn't a thing at that stage. 1996.
Extreme Championship Wrestling. God,
there you go. 1996, the 4th WWF King of the Ring pay-per-view took place in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Mark Miro in the semi-finals and then pinned an injured Jake Roberts in the finals to win the tournament. And of course, the post-match interview, we spoke about it already with J316. Austin's promo and victory speech debuted the infamous Austin 316 tagline, which would go on to become one of the most popular catchphrases and t-shirts and characters in professional wrestling history.
Phenomenal.
There we go. 4 notable birthdays for you. Note these down, folks. 1963, The Sandman.
Hey.
1933, Larry the Axe Hennig, the father of Kurt, Mr. Perfect.
Wow.
1946, another one I'm a huge fan of, Bruiser Brody. Fortunately lost his life down
Love
in
Bruce
Puerto
Brody.
Rico, I think it was. Very, very sad, but what a wrestler. And we rounded out with one of my all-time favorites, 1959, The Ultimate Warrior. That's for you, Jay Kennedy. Kept it last for you. The Ultimate Warrior, 1959.
No fun
That's
fact
it.
about Bruiser Brody: the guy who killed him was called Sabu, but it wasn't. Sabu. Is a different guy called Sabu the Elephant Boy.
No way.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's a great
if it was the
episode of
actual
Dark Side of the
Sabu.
Ring, actually. But I didn't. I
Yeah,
didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Brody.
we did a review on the Dark Side of the Ring episode of it, actually. It's up there somewhere in the archives. From
Very,
back in
very,
the
very
day.
sad. Some
I
people
know.
say, and I kind of agree looking back on it, Bruiser Brody was the first one to really incorporate brawling and hardcore style into his moveset before anyone really. So he's kind of pivotal for that. Pivotal. Excuse me. Yeah, the diction's not great. I need a thing of water to smooth my lips so I can.
Pitiable.
Yeah.
There we
Good.
go. But listen, folks, that's it. Another show in the bag. We're rolling on tonight at Champions. We will cover it next week, of course. And we're rolling on to Saturday night's main event. And we probably have a beautiful 3 weeks of Goldberg ahead of us. God knows what's going to happen. Maybe Ron Killens could do us a favour and get involved or something like that.
Just on that, and just before we wrap up, it looks like WWE are kind of going back and forward with the name. They keep calling them R-Truth. Raw was predominantly R-Truth. I'm not sure if it's anything significant. But
They're
it's
testing
just-
the reaction. They're testing the
maybe,
reaction.
yeah, because they're flip-flopping between the two and they're leaning more towards R-Truth.
Yeah,
Anyway,
before
I digress. Sorry.
Yeah. Right. Before the end of Raw, before the main event, they showed what was happening on Raw next week and SmackDown this week. And they had that graphic as John Cena versus R-Truth.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see, but I don't mind either way. I'm just happy. I'd rather be confused about his name than be confused about his job security, to be honest. So
if you could just go back being Ron Cena, I'd be happy.
I'm gonna dust off my old R-Truth t-shirts.
he does it out of spite,
All of
just
them,
to
yeah.
annoy John Cena.
All of them. The ones that are sitting there with Sean's figure.
Alexa, order 5 R-Truth t-shirts.
There you go.
But it's one more R-Truth figure than the pair you have. I'm not hearing that. Yeah.
That's not entirely true.
It's not, because I have a couple of R-Truth figures.
Show me 700 R-Truth figures right now. Dare you? Gun to your head. Bet you don't have.
Hang on, I just go on Google here and search
Yeah.
R-Truth figure collection.
I know.
I do have a double pack in the attic somewhere with him and BG James, a TNA pack, but I think he's Ron Killens in it. Is he Ron Killens or is he Kate
That's
Quick? Or
deadly.
was it? I haven't got a clue. But
You know the way
It's
I,
in there
you know the
somewhere.
way I said you know the way I said Alexa getting over to the figure. Alexa's just been talking to me like nonstop for 2 minutes there. I
Yeah.
thought someone was agreeing with me.
Yeah,
We're gonna
Alexa.
end up.
Yeah, I have Alexa in this office here. He was like, "Sorry, I cannot search the web for this, but if you would like, you can go into your Amazon." And I thought someone was in the room with me or someone that came up and the radio was on.
Sean's thinking, listen, bitch, I asked you to do. What are you telling me to go on Google
Yeah.
for? Go all heel on it.
Yeah, oh my god!
Don't have me to talk about Travis Scott again.
Sell your soul to
Oh,
Siri.
Don't mention the war.
Right, folks,
Oh.
enjoy your week. Enjoy your wrestling week, your football week, whatever it is. Enjoy the weather, especially the weather's absolutely brilliant at the moment. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and drop a like to the video. I'll be back tomorrow night with Darren, where we'll be going through the new season fixture list for starters, which should generate a lot of interest and debate. And we'll talk, of course, about the World Club Cup and any other transfer business that's out there as well. So until next time, stay safe, and we'll be back with you again next week. And we'll see if we let Sean back into the group.
All the
He'll have
best.
to work his way back in.
Cheers, lads.
Thank you, Niall. Thank you, Rent.